Nuglife, 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 Nuglife.
Full of reefer?
Yeah, man.
Me not just high,
Sailing. Sailing lightly.
get away from here. Man, is that the reefer, man?
That's the reefer, man.
I believe he's losing his mind.
I think he's lost his mind.
Everybody, welcome to the Nuglife radio show. We are a high level of entertainment coming to you coast to coast right now on your internet, but pretty soon we're going to be on your AM, FM, the first radio station to mainstream cannabis education. I'm your host, Medicinal Mike. Co-host today is Dr. Wayne Kelly, who's just around the block. Thanks, Dr. Wayne. Today, we have a great show for you, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to have in Dr. Dina, the real Nancy Botwin. If you've ever seen the show Weeds on Showtime, this is the woman allegedly strong enough to go to court with, who the entire movie was based off of. Also, close personal friend of Snoop Dogg. So that's going to be cool. We're also going to be doing the USWeedChannel.com, the first Weed channel to ever be picked up for mainstream video television, and they're on the Roku station. They haven't even started advertising yet. They have 6,500 listeners. I am your host, cannabis activist, enthusiast, comedian, Medicinal Michael, and it's the first show that we're doing live, so I'm a little nervous because I'm here by myself in what feels like a basement. So we're going to start going over news. Also, Bong Hits Radio. If you're listening, bonghitsradio.com. If you missed the live show, you can watch us there Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. And we have a nice, thanks to Bobby Bowner out there in Canada, the snow state. He puts it together for us so that you can watch it too and see pictures that are taken by Sun God Photography. Today's top story in the news: U.S. House passes amendments to end federal interference in medical marijuana operations. Hooray! What does this mean for you right now? Nothing, because it still has to go through the Senate, and they have to vote it through. So what they're saying is appropriation amendment that would effectively end the federal government's ability to raid dispensaries and arrest medical marijuana patients. So basically that means that they're saying if you're a legal state, the feds will no longer be raiding you, as long as it passes. Right now, watch your butt. So, hey, Dr. Wayne Kelly. Dr. Wayne Kelly just arrived, 30-year physician, addiction counselor, and co-host on the wonderful Nuglife radio show. Dr. Wayne, welcome.
Oh, good afternoon. I'm a little high here. I just had the hottest Indian food I've had in my life.
How was it?
Ready to go.
Whew. I was lost without you, Dr. Wayne. I was lost without you. What we're talking about right now is the news. U.S. House passes amendment to end federal interference in medical marijuana operation. So they just had that big speech was made out in the House, and everybody got in there and got pretty angry and said, hey, stop raiding us. We're tired of it, and they're actually supporting it.
Well, I think we won one on that one, didn't we?
Yeah, they say it still has to go through the Senate, though, and then to become an official law. But I think we're pretty close. Like, it's definitely a step in the right direction.
Well, it's a step in the direction of some real social justice and getting the man off her back.
And because it was such a one-sided vote, do you feel like it's actually going to pass this time, or have you seen this happen over and over again, and then it never kind of crosses that finish line?
I'm hopeful. I think it's a new world, and I'm hopeful this will pass.
I'm excited. Also, what's going on in the news? That's the top story right there, so we're going to come back to it. We'll be asking our guests today, who will be Shane Dool from the U.S. Weed Channel, and Dr. Dina, who is named by Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dina, not a medical professional, but like Dr. Dre.
Mm-hmm. Looking forward to that.
She is hot. Let me tell you, she is hot. Big news in the NFL, painkillers versus pot. NFL players speak out on the hypocrisy of pain. NFL is very two-faced when it comes to this issue. Mm-hmm. They have so many people that are overdosing and abusing pills and players, about 80% of them. and they sweep it under the rug. They don't want you to find out. Now that the marijuana with that other player who just got busted recently for smoking the spice or something, they have expanded their tolerance level. So you can have a little bit in you because most players are out there saying, specifically Tank Johnson, explaining the convoluted situation. Unsigned free agent Tank Johnson laments the fact that while 70 to 80% of NFL players smoke weed to alleviate pain, it's far better option than enduring the pleasant side effects of prescription painkillers. The NFL makes more money if you take painkillers and you get your butt out there and play. I think that's the bottom line with that one right there.
You know, what I do basically is get people off pain medications, off particularly the opiates, which are dangerous and addictive. And I think it's a problem in the football leagues. And I see the athletes when they're finished playing, and I tell you, they got some very serious problems. And they use cannabis a lot. I'm talking about all kind of athletes, of course, soccer players, gymnasts, cheerleaders, and football players. But it's a real common problem. These guys get real beat up.
Can cannabis alleviate all the pain that a painkiller, like if I decided I'm never going to take a painkiller in my life and I get a sports injury, can I just take cannabis and, you know, alleviate all that pain?
Well, you know, many people can. I mean, it reminds me of a cartoon I've got on my wall where there's this old gentleman who's about 90 and he looks pretty bad and he's in a wheelchair and he's got an IV bottle, but he's smoking a joint. And he says, I'm still in pain, but I don't give a F. See, I did that right. I remember
right. No,
this
that
time.
was beautiful.
I can't say that, right?
Yes, we are a family-friendly show, or as family-friendly as we can be, depending on how you speak to your children and describe the difference between private and secret. So we do not curse, and we have not yet in the history of our liveness.
Right. Well, you know, but seriously, as people say that the use of cannabis gives them some mental separation from the pain, so the pain is not overwhelming them and controlling their lives. They're able to regain some control of their lives, their thoughts, and their emotions. And that's where it's so effective for pain control.
And they have monks out there that just do meditation. They don't even smoke weed or nothing. They just meditate and block all that pain out.
Well, listen, and if you can meditate 12 hours a day and eat only vegetarian food and spend your time praying, then more power to you. But unfortunately, that's not most of us, right?
That's right. If you want to call into the Nuglife live radio show, we'll be taking calls later on. You can ask the doctor anything you want to know. You can ask me anything you want to know. That phone number is 760-798-3127. That's 760-798-3127. So we'll be taking your calls later on. Also in the news, BH, and we get our news from marijuana.com. If you guys want to know anything that we're going to talk about and maybe discuss it with us, you can go on there and follow along the stories. Trying to nip the production of residential butane hash oil in the bud. Colorado, of course, because that's where everything happens.
It's a good thing to nip that in the bud.
Is fast-tracking an ordinance that would prohibit the production of BHO in suburban areas. And this is the reason. Hoping to take a bite out of homemade hash oil, the ban was promoted by a May 6th incident when Telluride Sheriff responded to a 911 call over a vicious pit bull that had taken issues with its owner. According to San Miguel County press release, the man reported the dog bite stated that his pit bull had bitten him on the penis. Bad dog. Bad dog.
That's a detail I didn't need.
How do you be the guy not only to ruin being able to make a wax in your house without blowing yourself up, but you did it in that way to where you'll be remembered as dog bite penis boy.
Well, I'm not quite sure I understand the connection between the bitten penis and the making of the butane based.
I guess I should have connected that a little. Thanks, Doc. He had to call the police, and he was making hash oil in the house. The police showed up, and they were very happy to see he hadn't blown himself up because he was using butane.
Right.
And I do agree. Don't do this in a suburban area. This is highly flammable. I'm not even going to tell you everything you use to do it, but butane is highly flammable. and you will blow yourself up. I've blown my kitchen up before.
Well, okay, so the dog was not biting his penis for any reason related to making of the hash oil, right?
Right, no.
Okay, I just want to be clear on that point.
That might be his little secret trick to making the hash oil. He might have been working something out with the dog.
Or maybe the dog didn't get his share.
Right. We're the Nuglife Radio Show. We are a high level of education, a higher level of education with a smidge of entertainment. We've been on for about 7 years, and we're now live and aimed for AM FM radio, the first cannabis education show to be syndicated in the United States. All over the news stories, I want you to know that I got chocolate everywhere, and I'm very proud of that. Federal judge thinks that all drugs should be legalized and regulated by the FDA. A federal appeals court judge, Richard Posner, has come out and openly declared that all illegal drugs should be legalized, heavily taxed, and regulated by the FDA.
Well,
Makes sense.
it makes sense. Step forward if you can trust the FDA. I mean, they're the ones that's putting cannabis as Schedule 1. So
If you're going to legalize cannabis as a Schedule 1, why not legalize the rest of the Schedule 1s?
Right. Well, yeah.
There's a position.
There's a role for an oversight organization, and the FDA has its role. They're not my favorite organization because of the political decisions they make, rather than the purely scientific ones, particularly in regards to cannabis.
So hopefully they don't legalize all the drugs, regardless of what this judge has to say, because some drugs are bad. And I don't personally even like the cannabis, again, as being scheduled as drug and in that category as far as legalization.
Well, it's a question of whether your approach to people who use medications is punitive and legalistic, or whether it's supportive and you get them treatment. And our society is very punitive. And that's the problem, I think.
Isn't Switzerland like legal for all drugs, but nobody's on them? Or one of the... I mean, I'm not sure. We'll have to fact check it.
Yeah, I have to fact check that. I haven't been to Switzerland in a long time.
Yeah,
but,
usually the more open the drug, and that wouldn't happen here. If they made heroin legal, they'd kill themselves off in a week. That'd be a plus, but... or not a plus, but, well, there's no way to dodge around the H.
No, I mean, there are extremely dangerous drugs, and some of them are prescription that are out there. And heroin is a form of opiate, and it's really not that different than Percocet and Narcos and a lot of the drugs that are killing people that are prescription drugs. So you got to look at the whole picture,
Almost an epidemic at this point.
Well, deaths from prescription medications have been called an epidemic by CNN, I believe, and 120,000 people died last year from prescription opiates. So you got to look at the big picture, really.
All right, well, we're the Nuglife Radio Show. That's a little bit of the cannabis news going on. Keep listening. The second half, we're going to go over a little bit more cannabis news going around in the world. Not a lot of people are telling it to you, but we're here to make sure you listen. We're the Nuglife Radio Show, a higher level of education. I'm Medicinal Mike, and we're here with Dr. Wayne Kelly, 30-year physician, addiction counselor, and cannabis doctor. So cannabis advocate, excuse me. And we'll be right back with the Nuglife Radio Show. Enjoy these tracks.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, talking about hitting the ground running.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Nuglife Radio Show, the higher level of education, hosted by myself, 420 comedian Medicinal Michael, here with the 30-year addiction counselor and physician and cannabis advocate, Dr. Wayne Kelly.
Oh, Mike, you always make me feel old. I'm actually only 36,
You have the butt of a 24-year-old. We got callers in. I just learned how to use the phone during the break. Feel free to call back. If you want to ask Dr. Kelly anything, now is the time to do it. Again, you're listening to the Nuglife Radio Show, a higher level of education. Our phone number is 760-798-3127. Feel free to ask him anything. Make sure that you don't curse because we don't like it. We're going to talk about, too, some marijuana misconceptions, Doctor, and we'll get the ball rolling.
Okay.
Marijuana from Dr. Wayne Kelly, a gateway drug. True or false?
I think it's a gateway drug in the sense that if you're buying it from a dealer on the street and the dealer's trying to push some heroin or coke on you or whatever, then it can be a gateway drug. In fact, in my years of doing addiction counseling and working in the methadone clinic, that is the only way that I heard anybody talk about marijuana being a gateway drug, and we're talking about heroin addicts here. That they got heroin pushed on them by their dealers. The gateway drugs in this culture are Percocet, Norco, and all the prescription opiates, and that naturally leads to things like heroin. As a matter of fact, 70% of the people who are on heroin report that they started out taking prescription opiates.
So not so much a gateway as I'm going to smoke a joint at home and then I'm going to be like, you know what would be good with this? A little bit of crack.
No, it's more of a gateway to pizza, sex, and music, I think.
But the people you do meet that tend to be in a culture that is treated illegally tend to be illegal people. So in that way, you could end up with somebody who promotes something else. So I guess kind of, yes, I guess it kind of is a geteway drug.
I mean...
correlation is not causation.
Exactly. And if you're getting your drugs from the underworld illegally, then you're going to be exposed to other nasty stuff. And that's one of the real arguments about the legalization of marijuana, as well as the use of medical marijuana. Because it's above board and it's legal and it avoids the whole criminality and puts the Mexican mafia out of work.
Dr. Kelly, we got our first caller. Let's see if I know how to do this properly. Caller, can you hear us? You're on the air.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hi, welcome to the Nuglife Radio Show with Medicinal Mike. That's Dr. Wayne Kelly. You're our first caller. Do you have a question for the doctor or myself?
First, what's your name?
Well, hi, my name's Rachel.
Hi, Rachel.
Hey, I really love what you guys are doing. I love the show. It's awesome.
Wow, thank you.
Just want to throw that out there.
We appreciate that.
What's your question today?
My question is for Dr. Kelly. So for people that are using antidepressants, would you recommend pairing medicinal marijuana with them, or is there a way to, incorporate that or just get off the antidepressants and just use medicinal marijuana?
Well, you do what keeps you functioning and on your feet. If you're a parent, you've got a responsibility to your kids and you're depressed and you need antidepressants, then you use them. However, I know of no interactions between cannabis and antidepressants, and I've had many patients who take both. And I've also had many patients who don't like the way they feel on antidepressants. They sometimes feel like a zombie, they report, or they feel deadened by the medications. And many of those people were able to get off the antidepressants and just start using the cannabis. So it's really very individual. But the bottom line is you have to stay on your feet, you have to stay functional, and we don't want you depressed. So you have to experiment. You have to try the cannabis, see how it works, and then in a reasonable, sensible, and responsible way, maybe cut back on your other medications.
Awesome. Thank you. And one more. So for someone who's using antidepressants, is there a specific strain or, kind of marijuana that would be best for someone that has, specific depression issues?
I think that's really very individual. In general, I recommend people start with the indicas, of course, because they're sedating and it helps them get a good night's sleep. But a specific strain for depression, I really don't know. But maybe Mike might have some input on that. You're more familiar with the different strains than I am, Mike.
Well, the sativas generally, and I'm not a medical person, but you have your sativas and you have your indicas. Indicas generally are going to make you feel stuck in the couch, or compare it to Tommy Chong, whereas the sativa would be like a Cheech Marin. So if you're looking to feel a little happy because you're feeling down, go ahead and go with the sativa. But if you're bouncing off the walls and yakking a mile a minute, probably try an indica and calm down a little.
It's a question of, needing to experiment. And what medical marijuana license or recommendation gives you is the legal freedom to experiment and try some of these different strains. And really, it's very individual. I think you have to just experiment and see what works for you.
Awesome. Rachel, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Del Mar, actually.
Awesome, Rachel. Keep listening to us. We appreciate you calling. Calling again if you have any other questions. Again, thanks, Rachel. The phone number is 760-798-3127. Medicinal Michael, and we're here with Dr. Wayne Kelly, and we're professionals. And we know what we're doing. So if you want to have any of your questions answered, nugliferadioshow.com. We are a higher level of education. So feel free to give us a call. Dr. Wayne, let's go over another misconception out there and educate these people. Marijuana makes you lazy. True or false?
Well, Mike, let me think about that for a minute. Why don't you tell me your opinion about that question?
A little. No. I do know that marijuana does create more dopamine in your brain. And I know that that kind of makes you a little more tired. So when you smoke it, but I do know that there is no research to show that it is chronic. No pun intended. There is a little research to show that it's chronic, which means it happens over and over and over.
Right.
No motivation is not a permanent symptom. I know that.
There you go. I think you have to distinguish between relaxation and laziness, for one thing. If you're talking about laziness as a character flaw, for instance, they've done studies of university students who use cannabis and compared them with university students who don't use cannabis, and they really found no difference in performance. So I think that's a good indication that it doesn't make people, quote, lazy as a character fault. Of course, it does make you relax. So I think it's just really what you mean by the word. You can make you feel kind of lazy, but it doesn't, I think, make you lazy as a person, you know.
Nice. Dr. Wayne, we had a caller, but apparently I took too long to get to him or I pushed the wrong button. Sorry, caller. Feel free to call back. Yeah, we have those kind of things. I wasn't lazy, though. I really snapped up and got over to that button. Look, they called back. Let's see what happens when I push this button, and then we're going to push this button. Caller, you're on the air. You still there?
Yeah.
Hey, caller, this is Nuglife Radio Show. Welcome, Medicinal Mike. This is Dr. Wayne Kelly. What's your name?
Hi, how you doing? I'm Jack.
Hi, Jack. Did you have a question for Dr. Kelly or myself?
Yeah, actually, Dr. Kelly, I was wondering, is there any medical studies that have been done about the effects of cannabis on erectile dysfunction?
I don't know of any formal medical studies. Now, I could address that personally if you want. And probably Mike could too here. I can tell you that I've had lots of, quite a few patients who use cannabis, male and female, as an aphrodisiac, and I think improving erectile function is part of it. But it also seems, it has multiple functions in the sexual area. It helps people relax and focus on their feelings, their physical sensations more.
It's definitely an aphrodisiac.
Yeah, and that definitely helps you get it up, as they say. So
would you suggest an indica or a sativa for that?
I think, again, it's very individual, and it's a matter of experimenting and finding out what works for you.
Try applying it topically. Right to the affected area.
Yeah, Mike takes baths in it just to get this effect. But my expertise is not in the strains. It's more on the medical side. What I tell people is you have to experiment, try different kinds, and see what really works for you. I think indicas, again, are the most widely used for this sort of issue. Mike, what do you think? What's you got a hit on this? You know more about the strains than I do.
The biggest problem is you're never going to have the same strain twice, in a sense. I mean, unless you're getting your stuff from the exact same grower, Blue Dream can come out 45 different ways, and one might work for you, one might not. So it's kind of, unfortunately, a guessing game because of the non-regulations. But I don't know. If you have erectile dysfunction, you have something vascularly wrong, or something that's got to be affecting it. So you might actually want to take maybe an aspirin or something to get the blood flowing.
Well,
so we probably shouldn't be expecting like a Viagra version of Charlotte's Web anytime soon.
God, that would be great.
That would be great, but that may be a bit optimistic. I think the fact that it enhances the whole experience is more to the point, and that will help a lot of people with any erectile issue. But I don't think we're going to see a strain dedicated to that. And again, it's very individual. But I will say though that there's no indication to using cannabis along with Viagra or Cialis or any other medications that's out there on the market. And I have many patients who use both, and very effectively, to both enhance the experience and to help with the erectile problem. So, again, I think you have to experiment a bit. Mike?
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was a good answer right there. Hey, where are you calling us from, buddy?
I am calling you from Toledo.
Oh, that's cool. That's
know.
where MASH, that's where Klinger was from. Well, thanks a lot.
I think we should actually create a kit, a sexual kit that includes a joint, a pizza, some lubricating oil, and a Viagra.
Oh, you're giving away all my secrets to my women's success right there.
Nuglife is going to start marketing those very soon.
Hey, buddy, thanks again for calling in. We appreciate you. We are the Nuglife Radio Show. We are a higher level of education and a smidge of entertainment. We're having great. We're going to have Dr. Dina. She's coming in on the next segment. We have more cannabis news. We're going to have Shane from the USWeedChannel.com, the first station to ever hit the Roku, which is an awesome little box that you can watch Netflix, Hulu, and the US Weed Channel now. And you can watch the Nug Life Show, too, on there, and all the great shows that he has. And there's some 420 hotties. There's Dr. Kelly is on an upcoming episode of 420 Honeys. This just in. 420 Honeys game show. We have Dr. Kelly is going to be making. Are you the 420 Honey doctor?
This is news to me. What do you mean by honeys?
We'll wait till Mrs. Doctor isn't listening. So we're going to be right back. Again, we are the Nug Life Radio Show, and we're a higher level of education. So make sure you're listening. And we'll be right back right after this. Welcome back. You are listening to the Nug Life Radio Show, a higher level of education and just a smidge of entertainment. I'm trying to get that second tagline shoved into there. We are the first cannabis education show to ever hit mainstream AM FM radio. So you're either listening to us on that one radio station out in the middle of Pumpkin, Indiana, or you're listening on nugliferadio.com or iTunes or Stitcher. We do have a great show today. We've got more cannabis news. We're going to do some more call-ins for Dr. Kelly. You can call in Dr. Wayne Kelly, 30-year physician, cannabis advocate, and addiction counselor.
I keep telling you, I'm only 36, man.
I figured you've been doing it for a long time, one of them savant children.
Yeah.
And I am cannabis comedian, activist, enthusiast, medicinal Mike. And you can see me all around town doing shows, and I might be in your city. We have coming into the show, I'm very excited, one of my favorite people that exist in the marijuana community today. She is... believed to be the one who the Weed Showtime show, it's Weeds it's called. I don't know if you've seen it. 8 seasons, awesome show.
Weeds.
I haven't seen the last episode, so don't ruin it for me. Yeah. She is the real Nancy Botwin. She is also Snoop Dogg's marijuana consultant. Welcome to the Nug Life Radio Show, Dr. Dina. Dr. Dina, are you there?
I'm here. Thanks so much for having me on today.
We're so happy to have you here. You are one of my favorite people, hands down the hottest woman that exists in marijuana today.
You are too sweet.
By far. You were at GQ magazine, Rolling Stones magazine, and you just recently went public as being a marijuana consultant. What's the right way to put that?
You know, it's funny because I never wanted to be public, and a good friend of mine, Snoop Dogg, is the one who actually outed me about 2 years ago to GQ magazine because he brought a writer over to hang out with me for the day and didn't mention that the gentleman who I was hanging out with for the day was a writer for GQ. And towards the end of the evening, he was like, oh, by the way, this guy Drew is writing this great article. I'm going to be Man of the Year in GQ. And I went, oh, my goodness, this is awesome. Congratulations.
How long have you known Snoop Dogg?
Oh, gosh, I've known Snoop for, I don't even want to say how many years because you're going to date me, but I was 15.
Wow. So you knew him before he was the Snoop Lion.
Oh, yes, way before that. I mean, we used to call him just Snoopy back then. And he wasn't even really Snoop Dogg.
Snoopy. I could see why he didn't stick to that name.
Right.
Question 2, it says here that you are the first person to make Snoop Dogg medical marijuana legal.
Yes. He never had his recommendation before he met me, and I opened up the first doctor's office that specialized in medical cannabis in Southern California, and
Wow.
he was one of our first patients.
Wow, and what a great way to start that, too. It says he carried it around in a silver briefcase.
Yes, it was a silver Jordan briefcase, and it wasn't just a briefcase, mind you. It was handcuffed to a security guard's wrist. for the first year. That security guard was not small by any means. In fact, his nickname was Tiny, but he was not tiny by any means.
The recommendation was in the case, or the actual goods?
Only the recommendation.
Oh.
Only the recommendation. It was honestly there was a chunk of foam and a piece of paper, and that was it. The most important piece of paper he has.
Is he as cool as he seems to be, like in real life? Does he just float up to you like, "Hey, Dr. Dina"? And he gave you the name Dr. Dina, right?
Yes, I actually I never called myself Dr. Dina. I'm not a doctor. I never went to medical school, but he started calling me Dr. Dina, and it stuck. And he introduces me to all his friends as Dr. Dina, and
like Dr. Dre.
Right. Anyone that knew me and called me Dr. Dina, I just knew that he sent them to me or whatever it was. And before you know it, everyone's calling me that, so I can't keep track anymore. But
how long have you been smoking cannabis?
I have been. I tried cannabis for the first time with Snoop when I was 15, and that was because I was at my friend's house and he was smoking, and my friend was terrified that I was going to tattle on his mother that we were smoking cannabis. So he told Snoop she was going to rat us out, man. And Snoop said, "Come over here, little girl. You're going to hit this." And I did. And he told me if I tattled, that I'm going to get in just as much trouble as he would. So I kept my mouth shut. And I didn't smoke again for years, but I joke with him now. Look at the monster he created.
Oh, my goodness.
It was a life-changing experience?
Yeah, starting out with Snoop Dogg, it's like, where do you go from there,
Well, I didn't. I was paranoid. And he wasn't Snoop back then. He wasn't, the epic smoker. To me, it was like
it's that
Bob
gangster
Marley.
black guy that hangs out at the house passing weed off to all the teenagers. Smoke or I'll punch you.
Yeah, it's actually funny because I remember when I was in college being really excited that Cypress Hill was coming to school to perform. And it was the early 90s, and the tickets were cheap, and I was so excited that I was going to see Cypress Hill because, Hit from the Bong was so epic. And, 2 days ago, I got a text message from B Real asking if I could come over to his office and go in the smoke box with him on Thursday. And it's just, the irony is so great. Here I am, as a kid, just trying to shell out every buck I had to go see some of these people, and now they're just friends of mine, and we all smoke together, and it's pretty amazing. Cannabis really brings a lot of people together, but for me, it's kind of, out of this world.
So I understand the program Weeds was actually modeled after you. Is that true?
Yes. It's actually really funny. Everyone says that, but they never asked me if Andy is a real character who plays her brother-in-law on the show. And I like to say that
he's my favorite too.
Mm-hmm.
He is a real character, and that's modeled after my godbrother Andrew, when they really didn't take much creativity with the name on him. But it's very much based on us and the very beginning and when we first started. And we had a couple patients that would hang around a lot and ask us a lot of questions. And we were naive, and we answered the questions. And before we know it, we realized that these people were consultants for TV shows. And we just thought, oh, it's L.A., it's Hollywood, everybody's involved in a show. And then next thing you know, I walk outside, my store, my first dispensary that I started on Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood. There was a billboard with a woman that looked like me surrounded by pot plants. And it was April Fool's. It was April 1st. My first reaction was, this is a horrible prank. And Snoop must have rented out this billboard.
That darn Snoop Dogg.
That darn Snoop Dogg. And I called him up, hysterical, saying, why would you do this? This is crazy. You're putting me on Front Street, man. And he goes, first of all, you're already on Front Street. Second of all, do you have any idea how much a billboard costs? That's like $50,000. I love you, but not that much. So, that's when I found out the show was becoming a show. And I first went to a lawyer, and I asked him, what can I do to stop this? Because this is very much, it's obviously me. I'm the only woman in the industry, let alone Los Angeles, and living in the same area that she was living in very similar circumstances, but different. I was engaged, and I broke up with my fiance, and he was the heir to Life Alert and very, very wealthy. We had a big, huge house. We called it a tract home on steroids. The big, 7-bedroom house, and I was the only woman probably in this whole gated community that wasn't married, and it was an interesting lifestyle how it kind of transferred into the Weeds character. But my lawyer really was afraid that if I were to take this to court, he felt that I would win, and if I were to win, he was told by a few DEA friends of his that they would go after me.
Yeah,
Or
especially in the first
anything.
season, you don't know it's going to be popular and famous yet, and you're just like, oh, here's
Right.
some show. Hey, I'm that drug dealer on there.
But not even that is they could try to charge me for things that the character did on the show that I never did.
Bad
So that was
acting.
really
No.
So I just said, forget it. Let me just hide and, be obscure. No one will know what I do except for my patients.
Dr. Dina, let me try this. I have callers calling in like crazy. I've never taken a call while I'm on a call, and we're going to see if this works. Let's see if this works. I don't feel like that worked. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi.
I just hung up on Dr. Dina, caller. Is that awesome? Dr. Dina from Showtime Weeds. Did you have a question for Dr. Dina?
No, I'm all set with that.
Okay, I'll tell you.
I need a mic.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Give me a call right back. Let me get Dr. Dina back on because I accidentally just hung up on her. She's the interview. You call me right back in 5 minutes. We'll get you right on there.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks a lot.
Dr. Dina.
I'm here.
Oh, my goodness. That was a caller, and I guess I can't take two at a time, but I know how to switch them.
Awesome.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead, doctor.
Well, I was wondering, Doctor, what you're doing these days, and do you still feel like you're in the fight and pushing things forward? And tell us a little bit about your current activities.
Well, currently I'm consulting to several doctors, physicians in the Southern California area, and dispensaries. So I'm making sure that patients know how to go to the doctor, where to get their doctor's note, what kind of medications that they should look at, which kind of cannabis. And that's a lot of it is cancer treatments that I'm seeing more and more every day, and children with epilepsy or autism. And those are probably most of my cases these days, because these are parents especially that need someone to hold their hand and walk them through on a daily basis for medicating their children. And we're finding out that cannabis is a beautiful, beautiful way to treat their children.
Absolutely.
And cancer patients especially, I just actually did an interview with Rick Simpson the other day, and it's such an interesting guy, and we really have to figure out a way to...
Rick Simpson, the inventor of not the inventor, but the creator of the recipe for Phoenix Tears, savior to the sick.
Wow. So you're a patient advocacy person, really, right? That's what you're doing.
Very much so. But, it's more than just that. I really want to get the word out that cannabis should be legal and accessible everywhere in all 50 states. In fact, all over the world. I'm going to be speaking in Spain at a cannabis symposium this summer and traveling all over the world and just educating people to the positive benefits of cannabis.
That's fantastic. And you're. Can I ask you too? Are you single?
I am not.
This is for science. This is news purposes. So you're not single. Are you married?
I'm not single. I'm not married either.
Okay.
I'm living the good life.
Okay, no, that's cool. So that's for the guys out there. She is committed but ready to change. No. You are, I want to say, too, you are captivating. I have a very stable relationship at home, but you are captivating. I saw you for the first time at a HempCon, and I was just like, who is that gorgeous person? And everyone was like, that's like Snoop Dogg's sister. And I'm like, I didn't see the resemblance, but but you are holding up fantastically.
Well,
I mean,
you.
Mike wants
I
to...
always tell him he has an advantage because black don't crack, but like girls, we got to stay out of the sun.
Well, this is our program. Mike wants to talk about your wonderful, beautiful looks, and I want to talk about cancer here. So
I love that.
There's a balance. There's a balance.
I'm just really intrigued what you're doing working with cancer patients and what kind of success you're having and what kind of resistance you're facing from the medical establishment. And
it's really fascinating. I'm seeing more and more physicians are more comfortable with patients seeking alternative treatments.
Yes, that's true.
In addition to their regular pharmaceuticals, not in place of it, but in addition to it.
Yes.
And the one thing that I've noticed that over time that we did not factor in is that when patients came into a dispensary and they said we were just diagnosed with cancer, we started our treatment, we want to go on Rick Simpson oil, this supposedly works. The directions are to try to get that patient up to 1 gram a day as soon as possible, essentially. You really want to start with half a grain of rice, the size of half a grain of rice, and then every 4 days you want to increase it until you get them up to 1 gram a day. But what happens, that is only for a patient who's never taken radiation or chemo. If you've done radiation or chemo, you should double that dose. And the problem is we didn't know this in the beginning, so we just heard Rick Simpson said 1 gram a day, let's try to get 1 gram a day, and that wasn't doing it. And now we're realizing that if we can try to get this plant, the CBD and the THC into your system before you do radiation and chemo, which sounds a little scary, but try to do it before, the results are actually better.
And how are you helping patients find access to Rick Simpson's oil? Yeah.
Well, I spend a lot of my time traveling all over and meeting people that make really good products and trying them out and setting
Research and development.
Research and development, making sure that they're the correct kind of dosing, speaking to Rick himself, making sure that we're doing this right, and trying to get the word out. And I can't force dispensaries to carry a product that I don't make, and I don't really sell it either. It's just I can make recommendations to people. Sorry, I have a yappy Yorkie who wants to be part of the conversation. Yes, and cannabis is great for pets too, and that's really another avenue that no one really started talking about until last year, until a veterinarian came out with a product called companion cannabis, and we've seen dogs go from death's door to literally going back to the dog park.
Is that the tincture that they're making? I've seen for pets, like a.
Yeah.
Can I ask you one more question about the cancer treatment, though? This is Dr. Kelly. So if I have a patient who has cancer and tells me they can't find access to the oil, are you available to help people? Do you how accessible are you?
My deal is I don't sell the cannabis, so all I can do is try to find a collective that's near you and recommend them. And that's really how I like to work. I like to just give back. That's how it's supposed to be. I'm trying to work with a group of different people who want to start making oil and giving it to patients who need it for free. Because, as I said, if
wow,
you're
that would be great.
2 grams a day, that's like $100 a day
exactly.
out of pocket. And it's people just can't afford it, and that's the other problem we're running into.
Well, what a great, wonderful service you're providing, and it's encouraging to hear this. And I didn't know that you were so active in this field. And I hope that I can reach you and talk to you, and maybe even you can help some of my patients.
I want to express is that it's very important where your cancer is located as far as your treatment goes. We don't have you just eat the oil the same way. If you have stomach cancer, we want to put it into a capsule and have you really get all of that medicine into the stomach. If we have it in your lungs, we're going to have you eat it and vaporize it. We're going to, so there's different ways of going about it as well.
Okay. Dr. Dina, where can we find you? The people listening at home, if they wanted to hear more, where would they go to find out how to reach you?
Well, I have a website which currently is being redone, but you can still contact me through it. It's Dr. Dina 420, which is DRDINA 420.com. I'm available on Instagram, which is the same name, and on Twitter, it's just Dr. Dina. And I travel all over. I'm always available, and I love helping people.
Dr. Dina, thank you so much again for calling us here on the Nuglife radio show and being our guest, or I guess we called you, but thank you for answering your phone. Most women don't for me. We'd love to follow up with you, too.
And thanks for what you're doing in particular, Dr. Dina.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you, guys. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Great work.
Thank you, Dr. Dina.
Have a good evening.
All right, you're listening to the Nuglife radio show. That was Dr. Dina, hashtag the real Nancy Botwin, and also Snoop Dogg's bestie. So Dr. Dina, you can find her on Twitter, Facebook, and get in contact where she's full of great information. We still have Shane from the U.S. Weed Channel coming up. We still have more cannabis news. We're going to take some more calls. I seen the phone boards were lighting up. Sorry if I hung up on you. You're listening to the Nuglife radio show, a higher level of education. I'm Medicinal Mike with Dr. Wayne Kelly. Say something awesome right now. I was trying to give you the awesome point.
We'll be back for more enlightenment. What can I say?
That was awesome.
Don't forget to bring it down. Puff, puff, puff. Berry haze. Just gonna stand here and watch you get high.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Nuglife radio show. We are a higher level of education, and we're funny too. We are the first show to ever syndicate over to AM/FM radio for cannabis education. Our phone number is 760-798-3127. Phone boards are lighting up. I'm your host, Medicinal Michael, cannabis activist, comedian, enthusiast. and your co-host today, every day, Dr. Wayne Kelly. He is a 30-year addiction counselor, family physician, and cannabis activist. Did I nail that?
I keep telling you I'm only 36. You just can't seem to get that through your head. But anyway.
I just think you've been working very hard for a very long time. Yeah. We got a caller on the air. Callers, Nuglife Radio Show. What's your name?
Hi, it's Donna.
Hi, Donna. Donna, where do you live?
In Rhode Island.
Wow, that's so far away. Are you cold? Is it hot? How's it like out there?
It was beautiful today.
That is fantastic. I could tell by the way you talk. What are you eating? Something good with a sauce?
I'm smoking a joint.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Donna, do you have a question for myself or Dr. Wayne Kelly today? Or a story? A song?
No, I was just calling for my friend Mike, Medicine Mike.
That's me. Is this Donna?
Yeah.
Which Donna?
This is your buddy Donna.
Donna Hackett. Wow. Donna Hackett. Donna Hackett is a huge activist in the cannabis community. Donna, tell everybody about yourself all the way from Rhode Island.
Well, I've been an activist for 6 years. I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer and stage 3 Lyme disease 6 years ago, and I always smoked pot, so it was a no-brainer to use it as a tool to get through chemo, radiation, hormone treatments, you name it. And I was raided while I was bald and battling it because I thought I was technically a patient, but the laws were funky and I didn't have a card yet. So that's when I began.
Just thought you got sick and they should assume that the people that are sick should just get it and you shouldn't have to do paperwork.
Yeah, we had medical marijuana, and there was even a provision in our law to protect patients that had the right conditions to qualify, but for some reason beyond their control, couldn't get a signature. And my doctors were in Boston, so they didn't allow Boston doctors to sign your Rhode Island card at the time. So it was difficult to get somebody to just want to sign it. Back then, it was foreign to most doctors. They were like, what? No.
How long does it take to get a card over in Rhode Island? Is that a difficult process?
Not so much now, but like 6 years ago, it was the Wild Wild West around here. And if you went to a doctor, even though I was bald and, going through radiation and chemo, I would go into a doctor and they would be like, well, I have to treat you for at least 6 months before I could ever even consider that. It's like, well, I have the cancer now. How's that going to help me? It was difficult. So
Did you smoke before you were diagnosed with cancer?
Yeah, I've always smoked.
Dr. Kelly, how come marijuana doesn't pre-treat? Like, I've been smoking weed forever, and if I smoke a lot, shouldn't I expect to be less at a chance or risk of getting cancer?
Well, I actually think it does afford some protection. There was this study in Europe where they compared cigarette smokers who used cannabis with cigarette smokers who didn't use cannabis, and the ones who used cannabis were healthier across the board. So, less serious disease.
I can say in my condition, my breast cancer is hormone related. Mm-hmm. So whether or not I smoked cannabis probably wouldn't have prevented it because there's so much estrogen in our foods, in our water and everything that I probably would have still gotten the cancer regardless of how much.
That's why I have boobs. It's the water.
I do think it helped me because I was a cigarette smoker as well, and I do think I've never flunked, had a bad lung exam or anything.
So how are you now? This is Wayne
6
Kelly,
years later.
Dr. Kelly. Yeah, how are you doing now?
Mike knows I'm a survivor. I hang in there, but I didn't have an easy battle because my immune had already suffered so much. My Lyme disease was advanced. It had settled in my spine, and I was dragging my leg and my shoulder, and I was having difficulty walking, focusing. So going from that 3 months later to stage 3 breast cancer, my immune was so compromised that it's been 6 years, and I'm just starting to see some light and some progress. I had muscular degeneration. I can hardly lift anything. I have severe fibromyalgia. I have neuropathy. I have bone density damage.
And
It's
how old
just,
are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I just turned 50 this week.
You have a beautiful voice.
Ah, thanks.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're doing better. I mean, what a double whammy. I mean, Lyme disease, and I mean, that causes such extreme fatigue and then being hit with the breast cancer, and you do sound
well, the good
great.
thing is I'm drug-free. I have no prescriptions in my body. I haven't for years.
Hey.
Yeah.
My son is my caregiver and my grower, and I looked at him a year and a half ago, and I looked in the mirror, and I said, I don't know who I am anymore. I'm like, keep me going, roll as many as you have to, but I'm going off all my prescriptions. I don't want a pill in me. And that's really when I started to see more progress. It was hard for a while because I never saw any.
Boy,
But
times
my
have
hair's
changed. When I was a kid, I used to complain when my dad made me do dishes or clean the room. I could just imagine if he's like, just start rolling joints and you don't stop till winter.
But
my son grows awesome weed. I'm the proudest mother. Mike knows. I blast it from everywhere. When I spoke at the Freedom Rally, I wouldn't get up on stage unless it was with both my kids because they've been with me every step of this cannabis lifestyle and activism. We've done it as a family.
Oh, what a good family.
You know, I've heard from lots of patients something like what you just said, that you didn't recognize yourself, you didn't feel like yourself. And I was wondering if you could expand on that a little bit, what you meant by that.
Well, I mean, I had kids who were like high school, college level, and, you know, their friends over, and I always felt like young and active. And, you know, even through my cancer, we always had company at the house. And then I found myself like slipping away more and more. And then I didn't feel, even though I had lived with fatigue and not really moving much for a couple of years, it was really when I went on the gabapentin for the fibromyalgia. I was on 2,100 milligrams a day.
Wow, so it was actually the medications that were making you not feel like yourself. Oh, I see.
Exactly. My mom just looked at me and she said, "My God, your eyes are like an animal that's like been hit by a car." You know, I mean, and yeah, you just fade out, and my face was bloated. I just didn't recognize myself anymore. I knew I had to start fighting it at a different angle, and that's when I went all cannabis.
Well, congratulations on that.
Any medications. Yeah. I have more pain than the average guy can handle, and I don't take anything for it. But
that's what all girls say.
All day. I smoke hash
and that's Mike's
day.
being a jerk.
Yeah, I know Mike, and I know his wise ass shit. I'm like,
you just said the first curse word that we've ever had on the Nuglife radio show. Donna Hackett. Yay!
That's right. Keeping it real.
Donna, thank you so much for calling in, and keep us updated too. I hope to hear a lot more from you.
Awesome.
And keep calling and share us on Facebook and all the good things. And again, it's nice to hear your voice. It sounds awesome. And
thanks for sharing your story, Donna.
Mike.
Take care. One love.
Okay. Bye-bye.
That's what you got to say every time you talk to a stoner. I'm not even sure exactly what one love means, but I'm imagining it's something nice and beautiful. It sounds very Rastafari. That was Donna Hackett.
I think it's got something to do with orgies, actually. I'm not real sure about that. I got to look that up.
There we go. Donna Hackett. I have her. She's a Facebook friend. She's huge in the marijuana community. If you have open public marijuana forums on your Facebook, you're probably a friend of hers. If not, go look her up. She's a great person with a positive vibe, and sounded much hotter than I imagined. You know, sometimes in her post, she's a little angry, and I imagine this, you know, maybe 68-year-old, you know, just hating life and wow, what an energetic spirit, and wow, awesome.
Well, she's a survivor, isn't she? And her story is inspiring and encouraging and should be to a lot of people.
I had never known the depth. Until today, I'd never known the depth of it. We just always would debate on political issues or marijuana issues, and she is not one to mess with. She's very quick, and she will get you.
And what she's saying is cannabis has helped her survive. So, you know, it's a strong message.
And if you're out there and you're in that similar situation, I hope you're listening and you say, hey, there is another option out there that maybe you haven't explored. It doesn't necessarily mean, hey, this is going to cure you, but it does mean that there's something out there that is better for you, and you might actually have surprising results.
Yeah, I see patients who are on 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pharmaceuticals, and they report the same thing. They don't feel like themselves. They feel like a zombie. And maybe they need these medications, but on the other hand, there may be another option, and that's what cannabis is. It's an option.
Cannabis, the other option.
That's
a T-shirt right there. If you don't .com that.
That's right. I'm going to get that stenciled right on my underwear.
Our phone number is 760-798-3127. That's 760-798-3127. We are the Nuglife Radio Show. We are a higher level of education, broadcasting out of beautiful Southern California, where everything is just about legal down here. And if it's not, we don't do it because we're smart and we're responsible smokers and patients. So again, give us a call at 760-798-3127. If you're not listening live right now, you can follow the show on the usweedchannel.com or on your Roku box, or Bong Hits Radio Wednesday nights at 9 Eastern time. And you can watch Dr. Kelly and myself, Medicinal Mike, trying to educate the world and be more responsible marijuana smokers. Dr. Kelly, tell them we're going to be right back.
Way to go, Mike. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Nuglife Radio Show. I love coming into that music. It's sexy. We are the Nuglife Radio Show at nugliferadio.com, the first syndicated AM, FM radio show for cannabis education. We are a higher level of education and learning, and I am your host, Medicinal Michael, cannabis activist, 420 stand-up comedian. You can see me everywhere. I'll be on the Cannabis Show next week. And we're here with 30-year physician, addiction counselor, and cannabis activist, Dr. Wayne Kelly. Dr. Kelly, we made it back to another break.
Another break, and you could just say, "Here's Dr. Kelly."
I want to make sure to give you proper credit.
We can forget the whole spiel there.
Dr. Kelly.
Okay.
So we're back with Dr. Kelly, and we have a great show. We've had Dr. Dina on, the real Nancy Botwin. Thank you so much, Dr. Dina, for coming in. We appreciate you. We've had cannabis news going on. We got a whole bunch more of that. There's been a little bit of music. We've had some callers calling in. That's awesome. Our phone number, too, 760-798-3127. That's 760-798-3127. Feel free to give us a call. Ask Dr. Kelly, ourselves, or any of our guests, anything you want. Coming in next on the show, we're very happy to have, we like in cannabis to get the men of many first and the women when we can. Today we have Shane Dool from the usweedchannel.com. Let me tell you real quick what that is. The US Weed Channel is a mainstream television station for the Roku, which is a media streaming device that does Netflix, Hulu's, and any kind of original series and stuff. And they're where you can find cannabis entertainment, education as well. They're teaching you. They have a grow show on there. They have the 420 Honeys. I love that show. Dr. Kelly just got to do an episode of the 420 Honeys. They came in and
that's right.
You showed them how to be patients.
And they followed me through seeing a patient they brought in who consented to be evaluated under camera, and it was a very interesting experience.
Was she a 420 Honey?
I think she was a honey, but she was probably about 87, I think, at the time. But she was a real sweet honey.
Yeah, that's maybe had the butt of a 78-year-old. That's okay. Some of them are still rocking. Rocking.
That's the second butt comment you've made. The first one was about mine, and so I'm starting to get worried about you here, Mike.
Also, Nuglife dating. We want to welcome to the show Shane Dool from the usweedchannel.com. Shane, how you doing? Welcome to the Nuglife Show, brother.
Hey, thanks, Mike. It is great to be here. Dr. Kelly, good to see you.
Welcome back. Shane was on our show when we first started, and it was a big group in the development stage. And now this is your first time coming back with Dr. Wayne here.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you for inviting me back first. This is so cool to be on your first show.
Dude, I'm loving having you, man.
Another first.
And he looks, if you haven't seen Shane out there, Shane is, we have all beautiful people in medical marijuana. It is creating, he looks like who's that singer? Who's the singer? Dr. Wayne, tell me who that singer is. Look at him.
Britney Spears.
Harry
Connick Jr.
Harry Connick Jr.
Doesn't he look like Harry Connick Jr.?
He does look like Harry Connick Jr.
I got to meet this guy
a more
someday.
handsome version.
Shane is the first. He's also the first person that went to court who he was raided. He went to court and he said, what I'm doing is legal. And the court agreed with him, gave him everything back. And at the point where he had all his stuff ruined by the police or the DEA, he got them to put a price and pay him money for breaking all his plants and all his good marijuana grow equipment.
Oh man, the story goes deep. Deep.
See how I just phased out like, yeah.
That's okay. You did a great job of, summarizing it. It's just
Right.
great. I'd just like to say I fought the law and I won.
Right.
Twice.
Tell us more. Come on. That's a good.
Oh, okay.
That's
Sure.
too good to pass up
Okay,
on.
here's the basic story is along the line of First. I started the first mobile pot store here in San Diego. You can actually look up pictures of it on Facebook. It's called Granddaddy Phoenix. And a couple months into it, got pulled over. Cop didn't know what to do but to arrest me, which is kind of standard procedure with police and pot. And after 30 months of trials, I demanded that we go to trial and prove that I broke the law. And after 30 months, I'm the first guy in Superior Court to fight Superior Court and get all not guilties from my panel of jurors.
Wow.
Before me,
Making history.
Making history. Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Before me, there had been some no contest verdicts and some not guilties to mix with it, which allows the district attorney to reopen the case.
Who was your attorney? Did you represent yourself?
I did.
Really?
Yeah, I had a public defender who told me to plea the whole damn time. And, he's got a job to do, but I had to instruct him every step of the way.
Are you self-educated in law, or did you just be like, hey?
Well, my background is commercial insurance. I've been licensed by the state since I was about 26. And my background with that is working with other business owners and setting up their buy-sells and setting up their disability and all.
You're right on the cutting edge.
Everything from 401ks to health insurance to workers' comp. I wrote it all.
For a normal person out there, though, it's not usually recommended to represent yourself when you have charges like that. If you are not as educated as Shane is, don't just listen to the show and go, well, Shane did it. I want to be my own lawyer.
Don't paint me as a super smart guy. First off, all I did was read the laws and stick my feet in the ground. What every American should do, follow the law and make everybody follow the law, especially the judges and the DAs.
Were you aware of the history beforehand?
Kind of. I mean, I went to an attorney who was a former prosecuting district attorney here in San Diego to start it and do everything properly. When I found out what they were charging me for after being arrested and I read the laws, there are laws specifically that say, if you have a state of California, a voluntary medical marijuana card, which I had, and your corporation is formed as a nonprofit, you're covered, whether you want to be an individual holding pot or a corporation, delivering it for dispensing it or whatever. So they just charged me personally with, transporting more than so much and all this other stuff. But there's 3 laws that say you cannot or shall not be prosecuted for 11-359 and 11-360.
Which is?
Transportation of more than an ounce for sale and possession of more than an ounce for sale. Something to that effect. And they also threw in like a possession of deadly weapons charge for my daughter's softball bat, which was in the car, but whatever. They try to wrap you up. So
had 3-inch spikes on the end or a nail sticking out of it.
It was pink.
You're kidding.
No. Oh, I kid not. Anyways.
Ever.
Who's laughing? No, not them. Anyways.
Did they take the bat? Did you get that back?
They did. Yeah, I got the bat back, and it was awesome because the whole time in court, I'm like, dude, it's not a deadly weapon. How are you going to swing a bat in a minivan? So when I went to pick it up, I had practiced, twirling a bat way before I went to pick it up from evidence. So when I went and got it, I'm all, thanks, bro. Just to be a smartass. But so anyways, got all those not guilties, set a lot of precedents there so that other people can actually run collectives now. They can refer to that case, Dull, DOULL versus State of California. While I was going through that, in Riverside County, the Temecula police were called to a 911 report from the older lady next door, who was awesome. 73, not into weed, just thought I was a good neighbor. And she saw people stealing my plants, called the cops. Cops came, caught them on my street at 3 a.m. with my plants, let them go. With my personal property, right? Isn't that illegal?
Dirt hanging off the edges
Doesn't that
of
mean
it,
you're in cooperation with criminal? Is that a proper
right,
word?
so
Did I say that correctly?
they help them steal it in a sense.
Amen. So what I'm also the first guy of is to get cops caught by their internal affairs department for allowing people to steal my private property, whether it's a motorcycle or a PC or my pot plants. Don't effing let people steal my stuff.
Right.
And so then after that, they were forced to go and arrest those people that they had detained. And since the officer had put a price on my plants when I had reported them stolen, they had to use that price, and he agreed with it. They had to use that price in court to charge these gentlemen for victim restitution. So now there's that. Also, another precedence, you can't let people steal pot's private property, so cops can't let people steal it unless
Right.
they want to further my case. And now it's $200 a plant, which obviously it's worth more than that when you grow good stuff and bigger plants, but it's a quantifiable number, and other people can use it in their court case against the police and or whoever steals their pot plants if they want to get them caught. You see, this is a whole new thing. Now we can have
This
the
is for
police on our
everybody
side.
now. So now if something happens to my
Right.
garden, I now have a very minimally assessed, let me say, damage value of what did they say, 200?
200 per plant, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not bad. So then, I actually received victim restitution checks from Superior Court in Riverside County.
I'm
for my
sorry, is this
pot.
clones too? Like, let's say I have a bunch of babies, some clones. Is that, because it's such a gray area?
Don't wreck it. You know what I'm saying? It could be what the value is going to be.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You got to think like an attorney, right?
My plants are like 2,800.
A clone.
Right.
That's what I heard. Hey, man, that stuff's good.
This is the only strain. My grandmother made this for me, and she's dead now.
And there was 700 of them per square inch is what I saw when I was over there.
Next to your Mona Lisa.
Right.
Can I just throw in a serious note here? What this reminds me of is that the issues with cannabis are all about social justice. They're about the abuse of power. They're about individual freedom, stepping on people's rights and freedoms, and that's really what you've won. You've won a major victory in that fight.
For everybody.
For everyone. And it's a huge issue, social justice, and that's
Absolutely.
where cannabis, yes.
And, that is why I started U.S. Weed Channel originally. When I found out that I could do this, it was supposed to be a stage for me to simply piss and moan. And about what I was going through in the court system, because I could not believe that a judge who is, I think you'll agree with me, the person in our state who's supposed to know the laws backward and forward.
So they say.
Right?
Theoretically.
And here is the district attorney, who is I would say, second highest on the ladder to know the laws in the state of California, acting in direct opposition of 3 voter-approved laws in the state of California. And, it was blowing my mind because my background is to be licensed by the state, use the law for what I need. I've held insurance companies accountable for my patient or my customers when they become patients when I used to write insurance. I've done some mountain moving on behalf of the law, not because I'm all that radical, because the law is written and we voted on it.
Yeah.
So imagine going to court.
It's people
and
abusing
doing
their
that.
power.
Yes, imagine going to court and not being able to get an answer from a judge when you're asking them, why am I not being protected here? Yeah. Anyway.
Great story.
All right. Well, we're
Thank
going to
you.
come right back too with Shane Dole from the USWeedChannel.com, the first television station network, I would say,
Be a bud.
for the Roku box that's ever mainstreamed. So go out and get a Roku box and listen. We're the Nuglife Radio Show. We're your hosts on Medicinal Mike with Dr. Wayne Kelly, and we'll be right back after these messages from some Southern California band that I'm going to play for you.
Okay, coming back soon.
Sing forever we come. Panama red, Panama red. If steal your woman, then he'll rob your head.
We are back, the Nuglife Radio Show, a higher level of education. I am your host, Medicinal Mike, cannabis comedian, activist, enthusiast. We're here with Dr. Wayne Kelly, 30-year physician. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say. 30-year physician.
I liked it better when you made a comment about my butt, actually. We could go back to that.
When are you going to tell people that the doctor graduated at 6?
At 6, yes. No, I'm actually 64. Okay, there's the truth.
Are you? Oh, you look great.
You look Studley 64.
No, I'm 64.
We're here still with Shane Dool from the USWeedChannel.com. We got a caller on. Let's say hello to him. If you want to call in, 760-798-3127. Caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, hi, it's Jay from New York.
Hey, Jay from New York. How you doing over here?
Yeah, how's it going?
Oh, we're doing good. Welcome to the Nuglife Radio Show. Do you have any comments, questions, anything you want to share with us? What are you smoking on right now?
I smoked earlier. So,
what was
I
your
love
brand?
The show. I think it's great. I love listening to medical marijuana news and many mics. So, I have a question for Dr. Kelly.
Okay, I'm right here.
Dr. Kelly, what do you think of the European market and Uruguay just basically fast-tracking marijuana to now legal in the whole country and distribution, all sorts of business being created from marijuana in the whole country of Uruguay? And do you think that the rest of the European countries will also fast-track or take the same road as the United States?
That's it. We quit.
Wow. Well, my eyebrows just shot up with that question, kind of like, oh boy.
That's a functioning stoner right there, folks.
Baby.
That's a political question more really than a medical one.
What was it? So Uruguay,
they made weed completely legal.
Completely legal, but highly regulated. But regulated.
Licensed growers, distributors, they're going to be doing industrial.
You can build your house out of weed in Uruguay.
Yes.
Can you believe that?
Yes.
So,
it's a shining light on the marijuana horizon in some ways.
Well, I'd like to see if their crime rate drops. And,
but the government apparently is highly involved and it may be very regulated from what I understand. Is that your understanding as well, sir?
yes, from what I've read is that basically they have set up boards and directories and watch groups to monitor everything. And the government is directly involved in this.
Right. So that gives me pause, the degree of supervision and involvement of the government and what that might lead to. But still, I mean, we have to be optimistic about these things, right?
Yes, absolutely, because they are showing other countries and, of course, the United States what marijuana could be in 5 years or 10 years. What's going to happen to Uruguay in 5 or 10 years? Will they be on 60 Minutes with a program showing the country is booming from the business?
Yeah.
Or will crime go up because everybody is, non-compliant, or the black market gets involved? What will happen in 5 to 10 years?
Well, one good thing to come out of this is that it shows political figures that they can actually grow a pair and just do it.
There you go.
The president just up and I'm sure there was some counsel involved, but it's done. It's legal there. How embarrassing for America! Don't get me wrong.
And you're right. It gives us another option for the world. Really,
are they a world power, Uruguay, or
doesn't matter? They've got a functioning government. So do we. I mean, come on.
I'm the happiest I've ever been in a mud hut. Legalize rice, Uruguay. No, that's fantastic for them. I'd love to see a cannabis cup thrown in the jungle. I think that the wildlife there would be very participating.
But we appreciate your bringing up this issue and bringing it to the attention to them. I'm sure there's a lot of listeners out there who weren't even aware of this. So we really appreciate your, again, this is enlightenment. And thank you for your helping us out with this.
We're going to change the summer vacation this year. We're going to Uruguay. Here's some pamphlets.
It's going to put Jamaica out of business.
I don't know. I don't know a lot about Uruguay. I'm ashamed to say that's probably one of the countries that I know nothing. I can spell it,
isn't it right?
I won't do
Next
it.
to Germany or something.
Yeah.
No, come on, Doctor.
I suck at geography.
So do I.
I like the gentleman calls in. He calls in from the East Coast, and he's like, Dr. Kelly, and I'm waiting to hear. You could hear he has an ethnic accent to him, and I was waiting to hear all kinds of medical. Just
Sure.
my arm's falling off. Can I smoke a joint to grow it back? And it was like Uruguay. I couldn't understand. I understood the answer. The question I'm still having problems with.
He went off, man.
And as the question evolved, I kept feeling stupider.
I see your face.
Right? Less and less informed as the guy went on.
Yes.
So here's to you, East Coast.
Yeah, man, they're doing some research out there. I know New York just made everything awesome there. Shane, let's talk about the U.S. Weed Channel.
Oh, man.
And they have a program too. Be a Bud. You can go on nugliferadio.com and click on the link there and join the community of the U.S. Weed Channel. If you'd like to donate some money, they...
Let me tell you why, though. Let me tell you why. Not just because we'll take it, but we'll make the channel bitchin' or more bitchin'. But the thing is, right now, we were going to start off with a subscription so that we could have some money to proliferate the channel.
Right.
And we talked to some pretty heavy-duty branding people. One of the guys who was responsible, actually, for branding MTV.
Cattle ranchers.
He said, I love everything about your station, but the subscription charge. So... we said, okay, we're giving it away for free. We also kind of did that because, how could we actually withhold some of this awesome information?
Right, especially at this time when
that's
it's
the purpose
most
of the
needed.
channel, right?
Yeah.
Acceptance and legalization through education and entertainment. That's our creed. So we had to get it out there. So we did it for free, and now what we are advertiser driven, and we're also, planning to help us get started with the Be a Bud program. So we created this program where people can voluntarily put in money instead of mandatorily put in money.
Or else.
Right. And, they get some really cool stuff. They get a First Seeds Be a Bud shirt. They get some soap from Forbidden Leaf.
How much for a 420 honey to deliver the good stuff?
That's a little more expensive.
How much for the shirt she's wearing now?
That's a good segue, though, because what we're doing is we're going to be doing some concerts from the Beehive over here in San Diego. And when we do the concerts, we're going to fly in 2 buds for each concert. So they get a chance to be here at the Beehive and see these concerts. Yeah. So, Dr. Dina, if you're still listening, can you tell Snoop I need him down at the house for a night? I got some good ganja.
Dr. Dina, you come stay with us. It'll be crowded over there.
Oh, yeah, she's welcome.
She is beautiful.
It got serious in the room.
I know for a minute there. Hey, we're just kidding. Unless you're down. No.
Right, exactly. No, we're not. Anyways. So the US Weed Channel, now we produce some of the shows, but we also have content from some other people because, I can't be in everything, and I got a channel to run. So
in the beginning, you tried, though.
I did. I'm in 4 shows, man. I'm sick of me. So anyways, we have a bunch of new stuff coming up, and the more Be a Bud people that join the Be a Bud program, the more shows that we have. We have about 25 shows that are ready to produce for this Canna-based TV network, which is US Weed Channel. We're international. We've already been, this is a trip. Without any, advertising or whatever, 6,600 people have already put it on their Roku, and we've already been watched in virtually every country. So we're an international thing.
Overnight. And this is the first public... Are we breaking ground here?
Yeah, what?
Announcing this?
I want to say right now, thank you, Roku, for allowing this. They originally said, no, you can't have a cannabis station. And I pointed out to them that you guys
knew where they lived.
You guys have a couple of channels that, yeah, really, you're in my state, buddy. Anyways, I pointed out to them that they had certain channels that offered some pretty bad programming and could offer prejudice, could offer, alternative lifestyles that, whatever. And I said, you also offer HBO, and some of their shows have sins that the Bible didn't even think of. So,
Game of Thrones.
Mike said that. So, the point being is, I said, please reconsider, because our shows are as close to family-oriented as we can be. There's no TNA. Sorry, guys. It's close. We have cute girls, but, we got to be adult about this. There's very little cuss words, if any. It's all about having fun, learning, and following our creed. And we want to adult up the whole industry of marijuana and cannabis, because
that's very good. Yes,
we can't all be. I don't want to be all Cheech and Chong. I'm a businessman.
You want to get away from the stoner image, basically.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you guys dig the stoner image, cool, roll with it. But I'm a surfer dude,
If I don't have a Roku box, can I still listen to Can I watch the shows?
You don't want to alienate people. basically.
Right, exactly. We don't want to alienate anybody, and so we have shows literally for 18 to 108. And how they can see it, Mike, is by helping us. You know, if you're a company out there, advertise with us. We're just another channel. Just because we have cannabis shows, you know, there's BET. They have that type of show. There's
the real first cannabis show right there.
There you go, baby. There's, you know, women's entertainment television. They've got a certain type of show. We're just cannabis type shows. So 58% of America wants to watch cannabis shows and wants it legal.
Right. There's weeds.
That's a pretty fat demographic.
Yes.
So there we are with that.
So this is usweedchannel.com. Get right on your Roku box. You can upload it. Our phone number here is 760-798-3127. We are the Nuglife Radio Show, a higher level of education. The first show syndicated ever for mainstream AM/FM radio soon. Right now, you can listen to us on nugliferadio.com, US Weed Channel on your Roku box, or you can listen to us on Stitcher, iTunes. We're everywhere.
That's right.
I'm Medicinal Michael, and
I'm the doctor.
I like that. Oh, that sounded threatening.
The doc.
Right?
The doctor.
Like you need to be in an overcoat
I'm a
or something.
Doctor Who fan. I've always wanted to say that.
And we'll be right back right after these messages to do some more Canon news. Shane, you going to stick around with us?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, stay tuned.
Stay
Shaka,
tuned.
y'all.
Nuglife Radio, we're back. The devil went down to Jamaica. I'm loving that. I'm your host, Medicinal Mike, cannabis guy, activist, comedian, stand-up comic, and Dr. Wayne Kelly, 30-year physician, addiction counselor, cannabis activist. I got to say it. It's in the contract. We're the Nuglife Radio Show, a higher level of education. We're still here with Shane Dool. If you want to call in at 760-798-3217. We do have a caller on the air. Caller, are you there?
Yep, still here.
We have a caller on the air. What's your name, buddy?
Jeff from Las Vegas. How you doing, buddy? Mike?
Jeff from Las Vegas.
Vegas, baby, Vegas.
Oh, taking time out of the casino. Do you have any questions for myself or Dr. Kelly or Shane Dool from the US Weed Channels here in the studio today as well?
Kind of, sort of. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
First live show, so we're not impressed yet.
He's funny.
He's been listening for 24 minutes right now.
Mike, you killed it on me when you got to explain the joke, buddy.
Sorry, I'll learn better. What can we do for you today?
I'm wondering about dabs. Is there really a difference between purging on the butane between butane and oxygen?
Yeah,
yes.
It's a huge difference.
Yes, it's because of the contaminants that you get from the butane, and you get benzene and contaminants.
Carcinogens are going to be more inside the actual plant matter that you're smoking or some kind of a tobacco leaf. But if you are making your own wax, which if you're not a professional or doing it in a controlled environment, I recommend you don't. But you're using butane, and you'll notice when you light it that it sparkles after you're done. No matter how much you think you've purged it or how long you think you've waited, there's always going to be some trace elements that are going to get into your lungs as you're trying to smoke it. Recommended CO2.
Sorry, and then they're neurotoxic too, like benzene and other contaminants have been found. So you got to be careful with that stuff.
Is there because from somebody because Vegas isn't quite up to pace when it comes to California, so you're still stuck in the habitual. You know, you go to your guy, and my guy's telling me that oxygen is where it's at, but it's I'm not really able to notice a difference per se, but that may be because of both processes that are homemade and, like you said, aren't done by professionals.
I've never seen anybody use oxygen to purge. I've seen CO2. I've seen alcohol, and that's a medical grade alcohol, 99% plus isopropyl. But I've never seen anybody use oxygen to even know how. It sounds like it would be safe and lovely.
Like liquid oxygen? Or?
I guess, like medical.
Until it explodes.
Right. Hey, I could tell you a quick story, and you could actually look this up. Last November, I was living in Dana Point, California, and the house 3 doors down from ours, the guy was making wax unprofessionally in his garage. Which
is a concentrated hash of marijuana, for those who don't know.
Yeah, making wax. And I was standing up in my house, and when his house blew up, my house went up and down 18 inches. I'm not kidding at all. And I'm 3 doors down. And I ran outside, and I saw his roof still in the air, still going up. That's how hardcore it blew up. So if you're not a professional at this, or if you don't know and you ain't got it right,
you're gonna blow yourself up, man.
You should look up the story. It's bad that my neighbor was cool.
Thanks again for calling into the show. We appreciate you. We're gonna take another call here. Caller, welcome to the Nuglife Radio Show. You're on the air.
Hey, what's up, Mike? This is Tommy the Roach Lucero out on the road in San Francisco.
Oh, nice. Tommy the Roach Lucero, San Diego, and now touring comedian and marijuana activist as well.
Yeah, but don't tell my mom about the marijuana activist thing.
Tommy, how's it going out there? You got a question for the Dr. Kelly or anything you ever wanted to know about cannabis?
Yeah, I wanted to know the sexual side effects of smoking too much marijuana and the drawbacks that can come from that, doctor.
The sexual side effects of smoking too much marijuana, and what was the last part?
The drawbacks from such side effects.
I think the main sexual side effect of smoking too much marijuana is that you actually think you already had sex when you haven't.
You know what? May I make a educated comment on this?
Oh, go right ahead with that one.
The main problem is falling asleep before you get started.
That's what I'm talking about.
Spending all the date money on weed.
You fall asleep and you think you've already done it.
Sure. You're just so comfortable and lovey.
And you wake up the next morning, you say to your wife, "Did we have sex last night?" All right.
That never happens.
That's from a professional.
That's from a professional.
So, negative side effects that I've heard of as far as sexual are going to be man boobs. That's about it. I don't know anything behind that. Doctor, have you heard anything about that? But I just know that it's supposed to be a fact that you get man boobs.
I think that's a bit of a myth, actually.
Debunked.
You're just trying to blame yours on anything. That's what it comes down to.
Later on, I'm doing a show about homogenization of milk and the cause of man boobs. Thank you again, Tommy the Roach Lucero, touring around San Francisco right now. Head to a comedy club to see him. We have another caller on the air. Caller, welcome to the Nuglife Radio Show. What's your name? Caller, you there?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, we gave you the college try. Let's try that one more time. Hey, Nuglife Radio Show caller, you're on the air.
Hello, this is Mike Egbert. How you doing?
Hey, Mike Egbert. Welcome to the Nuglife Radio Show. Longtime listener, first time answered your call. Did you have any questions for Dr. Kelly or myself?
No.
I just wanted to be on the first show.
Well, welcome. You're famous.
Yeah, people kept telling me to call in. I was like, I'm not have that question. That's a lot of pressure.
All right.
What's your brand, man? What are you puffing right now?
Weed.
That is an excellent choice, by the way. Does it have a specific name, like Grape Ape, Blue Dream?
I don't trust the naming of the weed.
Describe your weed to us.
I feel like it's shenanigans.
What
it's
color?
Green, it's got little light hairs.
Would weed by any other name, you know?
It would smell the same.
It's delicious.
That's definitely smoking Blue Dream. Mike Egbert, thank you for calling the show. We appreciate you taking time out of what seems like a very busy day to touch base with us. Smoking weed doesn't really, and that's why we're here. We're here to educate you. So when people say, "Hey, what are you smoking on?" You know,
right?
Found it. So back to Shane Duell, U.S. Weed Channel. What do you got? Shane brought presents in for everybody.
Oh yeah, check these out. You're gonna dig this. Okay, first of all, try to open that.
Okay. What appears to be a magic prop. What's going? Okay. Well, okay. So what is
You cannot open it without this key. It is actually this cool product. These people were the first advertisers on U.S. Weed Channel, and so obviously I'm doing them right because they're friends of ours.
I have a bicycle lock that looks like that.
Yeah,
check that
this thing's
out.
called CRRX Wear, and what it is it's a little bottle to hold your ganj in, and it's got a lock on the bottom so that you cannot see what's in it, and kids can't get into it.
I like it says cannabis on the outside of the bottle, so I killed my mystery there.
Yeah,
but you can't. What an awesome thing! It looks like a medical
look in your
bottle.
jar there.
That is fantastic. And there's weed already in it. Do they all come with weed?
No, they don't. That is, again, from the Beehive.
Now, if someone's driving
that's
around
beautiful.
and they've got this locked bottle in their trunk and they get stopped by some aggressive law enforcement officer,
good question.
Is this going to help them out here?
Apparently, yes. Apparently, there's a law, and this is from the people at CRRXware, that if it's locked in a container like that, an officer in certain states cannot ask you to open it or something like that if they're just stopping you for a traffic violation or something to that effect.
You want to try that?
I'm not aware of the specific law, so forgive me, but
I know you have to
it's
keep
a
it
very
out
cool
of your
little
reach.
device,
it
right?
has to be shown that you're not smoking it. Same thing if you're carrying a pistol or something legally. You have to keep everything separated just so that you're not going to use it or using it while driving your vehicle.
And I'm a dad. My kids are grown, but
I could use this in court. I could take this to court and prove, even in my car, let's say I'm going to my dispensary and I'm picking up my medicine, I can have them put it in that, lock it in, and if I ever got any trouble, it appears, it's 100%
locked.
provable. I could not get to this.
Right. And you could take a hammer to that thing. It's pretty beefy.
And for all those guys out there, it's a perfect little cylinder, and it's just perfect for hiding condoms.
Oh, the doc is good. But that's true. I'm not going to say anything, but that's true.
These days, I don't think you hide them. I think you want them to be like, hey, look, I'm safe. I'm going to wear it around my neck at this point.
Yeah. What are those things, Mike? Anyway, I hear this myth going around all the time. Anyways,
I'm showing my age. What am I saying here?
So, those things are going to be available on the US Weed channel. Obviously, they're going to sell them through our store, and I think they're just totally cool because you cannot get into this thing. You can keep it in your medicine cabinet. If Grandma sees it,
is this one for me?
Yeah. Hello, that's
the one
big
with the weed in it.
So look, that's the big one. I didn't know who was going to be here this time, so. There's my second one, and for your other assistant, we have the third one. Now everybody has some CRRXware.
And we are all safe, and do not lose the key. If I lose the key, will a locksmith open this for me?
I'd like to just make one comment. I'm asked a lot about parents who get recommendations about their kids, and they're worried. And I always say, lock it away somewhere. Treat it like any other medication. Don't smoke around in front of your kids. This is a perfect solution for that. No kid can get in this.
I appreciate you taking that stance, Doctor, because you have to, sort of. But I was raised in Southern California, and every one of my aunts and uncles puffed, and my mom kept a Frisbee under the couch with some weed in it, and it wasn't a thing. Like when I never even wanted to smoke because I watched them smoke. I'm like, yeah, okay, they smoke.
It never seemed like anything, right?
It was like having a beer. And so when I finally did want to smoke, I just went into Mom's Frisbee and smoked a little weed. And
did you find you bonded? Like you bonded more with other friends? You'd go over their house and they'd pull out the Frisbee from their couch. And
Absolutely.
You're like, oh, my parents do this too.
Totally. And back in the 70s, I don't know, everyone had the power hitter. Remember the thing you stuck the joint in and you squeezed it and it made you smoke?
Yeah. Well, I mean, people are worried about CPS and interference by...
now.
And
never heard of them.
They should be, but...
they should be, and that's correct, so I shouldn't really...
They have to be careful about these things. Look, it's hypocritical. I mean, in reality, if a 2-year-old eats a cigarette, it can kill him. I mean, people have cigarettes all over the place, and cannabis isn't going to kill anybody. So,
unless you throw it at them, it's like a pound, and you throw it at them hard.
And you know what? That's what we're preaching at US Weed Channel.
.com or available on your Roku box.
Yeah, and we'll be everywhere soon because Be a Bud people.
So if they want to hear more and find out more about the channel, where can they go?
Well, usweedchannel.com, obviously. And, they can click from your site, Nuglife Radio. There's a link. And
Be a Bud.
Yeah, we're on Google+, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. We're all over the freaking place.
Awesome. Yes. So this wraps up to our first live Nuglife radio show. Cannabis.
Yes. Hallelujah.
We just made history today.
We made history.
And it seemed like it took forever, but how fast forever goes when you're having fun, right?
And this was awesome.
I think we amused some people. We maybe did a little bit of education, discussed some inspiring topics, and talked about people who standing up to the man, right?
Amen. It's your American duty.
And
That's
thank you.
American duty.
So many callers that called in. We appreciate all you guys. If you ever have any questions, you're at home, you don't have to give your real name. You can be anonymous. Ask anything you want. If your wiener don't work and you want to know if weed's going to help, Dr. Kelly's here to answer that for you.
And
if you're growing man boobs.
And I'm an expert on that, on the wiener growing and the man boobs.
And there you go.
Big thanks to Dr. Dina for coming in today. Dr. Dina's the real Nancy Botwin. You can see her on any social media site. Just put in again, Dr. Dina. She was just featured in GQ and the Rolling Stones. Thanks again to Shane Dool from the USWeedChannel.com for coming in, available on your Roku box. Go to nugliferadio.com and you can hit that and be a bud for the US Weed Channel. Volunteer a little bit of your extra craft because they need it to make their show more better. I love more better. That's my favorite
I
phrase.
use that all the time. It's proper English.
Bonghitsradio.com, Wednesday nights at 9 Eastern. You can also listen to us, iTunes, Stitcher, any kind of available media, and a Russian Facebook channel. We're the NugliferadioShow.com, a higher level of education. Again, thanks for everybody for tuning in. Stay tuned. We'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel to give you all your cannabis information. Dr. Kelly, words of wisdom before we go?
Yes, tune back in for more stupid jokes.
And don't forget to smoke your ganja.
On June 11th, I'll be on the Cannabitches show. I'll be appearing at the Madhouse and the Comedy Palace all week out in San Diego. So come on down and see us. Again, 760-798-3217, nugliferadio.com.
Life. Nug 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 life.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Don't sue me.